Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I have fully rebuilt the rocket from scratch and I added RCS here. We also downgraded to a T400 here from the T800 to add in a little bit of space for the monoprop. But the reason I rebuilt it from scratch is in my testing to try to figure out if we could replicate the problems that happened last episode. I was having issues where things were decoupling visually, but they weren't actually decoupled. And, this stage was getting dragged along with us after this decoupler fired. It was getting dragged along with us, pulling down our thrust to weight, as well as turning with us. It was very strange. The same thing was actually happening with these decouplers up here. I've rebuilt it from scratch to see if that will fix the problem. As we can see, it's nighttime right now, but let's go ahead and take off, and we'll see what ends up happening here. So off we go. We're a little bit overpowered on our booster. There's no doubt about that. So let's go ahead and begin our gravity turn. There we go. And we're just going to pull this on over a little bit further here. Cool. Now, in this save that we're in, I think the previous flight that blew up on camera is actually still there. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I think it is. It's not really relevant, of course. This is a sandbox mode. And realistically, with the problems this game appears to have, it's a good thing it's in sandbox mode. I'm just correcting our trajectory a little bit here. There we go. And our apoapsis is coming on up here. Cool. So I think once our apoapsis hits like 30 kilometers, we're probably going to shift over into orbital mode if we're not already there. But it's very clear that this stage is a little overpowered. And hello, sun. Good to see ya, because we're going to need some more light. This game can get pretty dark. And, I mean, that's realistic, but it's not great for YouTube. That's for sure. There we go. Now we've got some light coming in here. Cool. So we're at about 26 kilometer apoapsis right now. That's 30. Let's go ahead and try switching over into orbital mode. Yeah, that looks decent. This is now 40. At 50, we're going to head to the horizon. Cool. This must be the atmospheric pressure gauge. Yes, indeed. Noted. This would be G-forces or something. I'm not sure what this actually is. Vertical speed. Okay, never mind. So we're going to go into keep attitude mode, and we're going to head on over to the horizon. We're already at 75 kilometers. We're just going to burn at the horizon until our solid fuel is burned off. I'm actually going to turn off our main engine here. And we're only burning the SRBs because we can't turn that off. Cool. So this is about a 100 kilometer orbit. That's not too bad. Okay, just getting a little bit of space there. I think we may have lost... Actually, I think I didn't include tail fins. Okay, I'm going to turn RCS on here. Just to actually... Can we do this to hold attitude? No, we cannot, because I don't know why it shows this so many times. That's so weird. But we actually don't have tail fins on here. I definitely forgot to include those, but it's okay. So we're going to set up for this burn here. We'll create a maneuver plan, and we will burn out over this direction. Something along the lines of this would do. Cool. So we'll go ahead and head to the maneuver node, and we'll turn RCS on. Just trying to get this tumble under control here. Actually, we may want to just tumble all the way around, now that I think about it. We'll be approximately on the right heading. Yeah. Neglecting to include fins here was my fault, of course, when I rebuilt the rocket. But we'll see if this ends up having any issues. We could actually get rid of these here, and that would be a good time to do so. So previously, these fly back over here and they get stuck out over here at some point. And then they move with us. We'll see if that happens again here. But for right now, we're just making our way on around, right? We're trying to get to the maneuver node. And for the time being, they appear to be flying away, which is good. That is a very, very good thing. I'm going to turn RCS on at this point. I want to get us around to that maneuver node. And of course, we're very heavy at this point, right? That's obvious. And we need to get this thing turned. That's the difficult part, is getting it turned with all of this fuel here. We still have 1,000 Delta V in this tank. We're going to use about half of it in circularizing our orbit. Assuming this all works. So let's get into position here. We've still got about 2 minutes, but we can't actually warp this or else we'll stop turning. That's interesting that the SAS is just kind of chilling right now. I guess it notes that we already have a torque here, a rotational momentum, and doesn't really want to do anything about it right now. Fair enough. So we are going to need to extend our solar panels, which I did include. They are here. There we go. So we'll get those extended on out. Not that they have any solar power right now, of course. So we can see that our electric charge has indeed dropped a little bit. I think reaction wheels are just much cheaper in KSP2 than they are in KSP1, but also to some degree less effective. Okay, let's manually guide our way over here. We've got about 1.5 minutes until our burn. We need to be in position here. I'm going to turn RCS off now. And we're just coasting on over. Just with the reaction wheel. And then we're going to freeze physics with warp. There we go. Man, that appears a lot of times. And then blows up. Okay. So when we come out of the pause, it blows up sometimes. That's very strange, right? I feel like KSP2 needs more time in the oven. I really feel like it does. Do we have an autosave here? At 8:07 a.m. Sure, actually, this is 2 minutes ago. So let's go ahead and load in this autosave. So I guess this means that the policy for the time being needs to be that before we do anything with time warp, we need to quick save. Because there's a good chance, it feels like a 20% chance or so, that our ship is just going to crack in apart the moment we do that. So, we need to get back into position here. And I want to extend our solar panels, which are here. There we go. We'll get those panels extended. And I'm going to keep RCS on for the moment. We want to go over here. Our tumble appears to be a bit more out of control this time. I'm going to quick save and do that. There we go. Now we're going to head over to the maneuver marker. So yeah, it's very clear this game needs more time in the oven. That's for sure. As of right now, based on my experience with KSP2, I think that there's a really, really good foundation for an incredible game here. It's just not built there yet. It's got a lot of work that needs to happen. So I think that what we're going to do here is we're probably not going to do a very long series on KSP2 for right now. Just because of the sheer number of problems that we've run into already. I think that what we're going to do instead is we are going to go into this. We're going to do a moon landing for sure. We're definitely going to do a moon landing. But due to the number of problems, this is probably going to be a pretty short series, like 10 to 15 episodes at most. And we'll probably revisit KSP2 again later, once they've had a chance to iron out some of these issues. For the time being, I'm not sure what we'll do in this time slot, but we've got a few days to figure that out. Okay, let's go ahead and quick save and kill the rotation. Okay. It seems to really be... I'm going to quick save again here. It seems like it really happens when the game is paused, and it has all of these pause notifications. And then we unpause it, and then there's a big ol' kraken. Sometimes. Not that time. There's only about a 20% chance of a big ol' kraken. Okay, well, we're going to warp forward here. We've got about 40 seconds. And we're just going to circularize at this point. 10 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, mark. Let's circularize. We aren't holding attitude. That's interesting. That's interesting indeed. Uh-huh. We completely failed to hold attitude there. That's very, very, very unexpected. The only reason I can think of why that would be is that there is out there somewhere still connected our decouplers. And that's causing our mass to be thrown way, way off. That's the only thing I can imagine. This problem only crops up after we start decoupling the stack decouplers. So we may have to redesign the rocket to not utilize stack decouplers. Which is going to be real interesting. Real interesting indeed. But that is what my diagnosis is coming down to. That the problem here is indeed stack decouplers. So let's just go ahead and try to burn over this way. And you can see it's really struggling to kill that momentum, right? And then we do this and... Yep, it's heading off this same direction. This is not due to any mass imbalance. Our mass is all fine. So the only thing that can possibly be imagined here, and our apoapsis is getting much higher. Oh, okay, this is going all over the place. The only thing I can imagine at this point is that the problem is the stack decouplers. So if we were to revert this back to the launch, and at this point we're in full-on troubleshooting mode. If we were to revert this to the launch, and then not decouple the nose cones on the lander, I think the problem will be solved. I'm pretty sure that that's the issue at this moment. That said, once our center core runs out of fuel, that will become an issue. So for the time being, I'm just going to move this up to, like, here. There we go. And we're going to lift this off yet again. And we're going to get back up into our suborbital flight. But losing attitude like that can only really be explained by having some really, really unusual mass issues, right? Like your mass is wildly off-center from your center of thrust. That's what that means. But it isn't. I know for a fact it isn't, because this rocket is entirely symmetrical. 100% symmetrical. Now, we don't have our fins on here, but we seemed actually kind of fine without them. So I'm just going to do this number. Cool. And we're going to head on over. It's definitely dark, no doubt about that, and I probably should have warped to sunrise. Things are going to be dark on YouTube's end, now that I think about it. Yeah, at this point there's not a lot we can do about that. So the rebuilt system is having the same problem as the initial system. And that is that these decouplers are at least as far as the game is concerned, still attached to the rocket and throwing our mass way off kilter. Because they go way off somewhere and pull the average mass, like center of mass position, really, really far out. Is the way that that ends up working. So we're just going to head on over towards the horizon, not tremendously quickly here, but somewhat quickly. Okay. And we're just going to park here, getting ourselves horizontal speed. We have enough vertical. We're now at about 60 kilometer apoapsis. 65. 70. Shutting off main engine. Cool. And we just burn here purely horizontal until those detach. And we separate a bit. Interesting that that killed the SRB, but not anything else here. Okay. Looks good. So, for the time being, we are still in atmosphere. And so, holding attitude is going to be not actually that difficult. For right now, it's okay. And we're at this apoapsis going to create a maneuver plan and try to circularize this. Now, this time, we're not being efficient and ditching our nose cones, because that is, I believe, what's causing the issue. So we want to head over to the maneuver node, and I'm going to use RCS to do that. Cool. Turning the RCS back off now. We're still at only 55 kilometers right now. We do need to extend our solar panels, which are somewhere here. There we go. So we'll extend those. Beautiful. And it would definitely be nice to be in orbit where we could warp to dayside, but for right now, this will have to do. So we're still making our way on over to this node. I'm going to quick save right now, although we're not in space, so loading right now would probably be a little dangerous. So I'm going to wait until we are here. Now we quick save, and we can begin our warp to this maneuver. Done. Yes, the sun goes down, and so we don't have access to, like, anything. But we're going to continue to warp here. 23, 20, 15 more seconds, 10. Okay, 3, 2, 1, mark. Do we lose attitude? No. No, this seems completely fine now. So the problem is these decouplers. That's very strange. Okay. And also we can see that that timer isn't exactly correct, but whatever. Okay, so we're in orbit now. We are officially in orbit. So we can now set the moon as our target. There we go. And at our descending node here, we can go ahead and correct our inclination. That was a little overzealous there. Cool, that'll do. And let's go ahead and head over to that node. Cool. Now the question is, are we going to have a big problem when this decoupler fires? Radial decouplers appear to be working correctly, but stack decouplers, as far as I can tell, at least these stack decouplers appear broken, but I had this one break as well previously. So we'll see. We'll see. That's the answer. I'm turning RCS off now that we're moving, and we're just using the reaction wheel to steer ourselves in, and we'll stop by warping. I'm going to quick save here in case we break, and let's go. Warping to maneuver. Okay, and we're going to continue to warp here a little bit. Two, one, mark. Overshot it a little bit. Indeed. Overshot it a little bit. So let's go ahead and bring this around to normal. 0.2 is probably good enough, to be honest. We could look for an intercept somewhere over here. It'd be a little further than this, I think. This is, I think, slightly less readable, but that's very interesting. Let's go ahead and focus view up over here. This is not telling us... Okay, so this works differently. That's for sure. What is this periapsis? 186 kilometers. That's probably fine. Okay, so we can head around over to this maneuver node. It's going to be 844 meters per second. So it is going to burn this off, and we'll see if this decouples successfully or if we're attached to this or not. This is definitely something that the devs will have to fix, right? If this is consistently happening, then that is a fundamental flaw of the game. Okay. So we're heading over towards the maneuver node here. We've kind of overshot, so I'm cutting our velocity. There we go. And we burned a lot of monoprop, but that is mostly being used to turn all of this, right? There's a lot of weight there. So for the moment, that's reasonably fine. Like, this is 12 tons of fuel alone right now, with it at this level of fuel. That's quite a bit. No doubt about that. So we're going to head on in here. 844 does mean that we'll see what this ends up looking like. And we just want to get this turn completed. No doubt about that. It's going to be dayside here very soon. And that's a good sign. Okay. I'm just going to manually turn this at this point. Cool. That'll do. Man, that's so many paused and unpaused notifications. Okay, we're gonna warp. Fantastic. Okay. So we've got 30 seconds until our burn. Make that 20, 10, and now. Once again, no attitude issues whatsoever. It was entirely to do with these decouplers, not properly decoupling. So we'll see what happens with this decoupler. If that breaks as well, well, we've got problems. And we'd have to completely re-architect this rocket. This is so inaccurate here. Okay. What is this looking like? Periapsis of 139 kilometers? Sounds good. Okay, so we're going to focus our view on the moon here. It looks like this is our insert. This is our exit, our exit point of the sphere of influence. Okay. At this periapsis, we would then need to create a maneuver and circularize it. Oh, that's so weird how that feels. I like the way that this intercept system worked with KSP-1 better. Definitely. I hope they adjust to this. Okay, we're going to warp to here. So we're out of here. Excellent. This is now back down to normal time warp. Are we in the sphere of influence of the moon now? Yes. Yes, we are. Okay, so at this point, we want to have this roughly circularize, right? We could bring it down the periapsis. Actually, I'm just going to delete this. I accidentally added in a direction I didn't want. So let's go ahead and bring down our periapsis. I don't like the fact that you can't pin open the numbers when making these tools either, and you have to exit the maneuver to actually see what that is. I don't like that. I hope that's something that they fix. Okay, so we're heading on over to the maneuver node. We have 24 meters per second left here. I'm going to quick save here. And we're just turning our way right on over. Where is the moon right now? That's Kerbal, I believe. That's the moon. Hi, moon. Okay. Well, I'm going to put a cut in here. It is about time for that. And next episode, we are going to continue to be probably rather critical of this experience. But to be honest, like I said, it is a good foundation. It's just not ready. I think that's pretty clear. We'll see if we have problems with this decoupler. Hopefully we do not. But that will be for next episode. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Kentuin, James, Shadowwolf, Mlohan80, Kentogan, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Unisol, Rogue Corvid, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.